It's been a year since a conflict between the army and a rival paramilitary group known as the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, broke out in Sudan. It's brought total devastation to the country and to the lives and futures of tens of millions of citizens. Many have been displaced, either seeking refuge in safer regions of Sudan or fleeing over the border into neighboring countries. The number of desperate refugees increases daily, so much so that the UN Agency for Refugees is warning Europe to expect an influx if their situation isn't improved.
And we know very well that this region is full of criminals that want to take advantage of the misery of refugees and displaced and help them move on at a cost towards North Africa, towards Europe. We have seen an increase in the number of Sudanese recently arrived from these areas of conflict to Italy, to southern Italy, to the borders of Europe.
Arrivals of refugees and other migrants, particularly those who reach countries by irregular means, is a significant and divisive political issue in a number of European nations. On Wednesday, the European Parliament approved a reform of the EU's migration and asylum policy, named the New Pact on Migration and Asylum. The reform aims to manage the reception and relocation of asylum seekers and includes a system of mandatory solidarity to ensure all countries contribute to alleviating pressure on southern Europe.
Europe is always so worried about increasing arrival of people. Well, this is I'm making the case for more support to be given to those that are displaced inside Sudan or immediately in the neighboring countries, because otherwise they will become refugees along those routes. Some media have told me, but are you blackmailing these countries? I'm not. I'm just stating facts. We're counting the people. We've seen an escalation in numbers of people coming from Sudan. And is humanitarian aid going to stop everybody from moving? Of course not. But certainly it is a stabilizing factor that reduces the incentives for people to be trafficked and smuggled on.
Although death toll estimates from the conflict in Sudan are disputed, it's generally accepted that more than 10,000 people have lost their lives. Many organizations, however, believe that figure to be much higher, and that it could skyrocket in the months ahead if more attention isn't given by the international community.
Time is running out. Without a stop to the fighting and unhindered access for the delivery of humanitarian aid, Sudan's crisis will dramatically worsen in the months to come and could impact the whole region. We are only seeing the tip of the iceberg, and the situation could be much more dire in reality. Access for humanitarian actors is particularly constrained, as has been reported so many times by all of the colleagues. Half of the states are not accessible from within Sudan. Darfur and Kordofan are inaccessible and cut off from humanitarian aid.
Half of Sudan's population, 25 million people, need humanitarian assistance. More people have fled conflict in the past year in Sudan than anywhere else in the world, with 8.6 million people forced to flee their homes, including 4 million children. Almost 2 million have fled to neighboring countries. As intense fighting continues, the humanitarian tragedy grows worse by the day. Already, nearly 5 million people are one step away from famine, and recent analysis indicates that famine is expected in parts of Khartoum and Greater Darfur, particularly in hard-to-reach areas. Across Sudan, 18 million people, more than one-third of the population, are facing acute food insecurity.
Statistics published by the UN Commission for Refugees show increased movements of Sudanese refugees to Europe, with as many as 6,000 arriving in Italy from Tunisia and Libya since the beginning of 2023. Sharon Baranga, CGTN.